You know, I love learning new things, like genuinely, even if it sometimes is a dark reminder of just how much time we waste in ignorance. Hey, so welcome to Dev Diary, the series where I try to make my own video games. If you're new here, a few weeks ago I learned something new that's forever changed how I code. I'll try not to repeat myself, so there's a couple of videos linked in the description if you're curious. But today we continue that learning experience by going back to the merge game concept with our new coding perspective. Now, if you've never played a merge game, the general gist is the player matches type and level of a certain object, merging them into the next level of that object. How this affects the greater overall gameplay tends to vary, but today we're focusing on just that merging mechanic. So this is our grid. It's actually not a grid at all, but a list, which is just personal preference. Now again, we've done merge games before, and the overall approach hasn't changed. We still keep track of what to do based on the mouse's position and when the player left clicks. So if the player happens to be hovered over the grid part of our game, this is where the merging happens. If that grid space contains an item, in our case various paint colors of various sizes, who, yes, are sentient and always watching. Always. When the player clicks, they quote-unquote grab that item, but if something is already being held, that leads to a bunch of other checks. If the player is holding paint of the same color and size, we merge the two by leveling up the item on the grid and deleting the held data. If the held item and grid item don't match, a simple swap is made. So in summary, items are picked up if they are empty-handed, or either merge or swap based on if those items match. Now, the items the player can match are all color-based, and there are 3 levels to be reached for each. For the sake of this showcase, the colors provided are randomized, but this will change later. These colors are held in the player's bag and are distributed to the merge grid through a function. This function is handy in that it does 2 specific checks before spawning a new color on the grid. First, it'll check to make sure that there's always at least one open space before it even considers placing an item, and only then, when that space is confirmed, does it look for another open space to spawn an item. This prevents the game from accidentally blocking the player from replacing something that they've already picked up. But should the player want to delete what they're holding, that option is also available. Outside of the grid are a few more clickable areas, and to the far right is the delete slot. Clicking this space while holding something will delete it from the game forever. Next to the delete space are 2 more spaces, both of which require a bit of explaining. See, this merge game is part of a larger experience, one that requires the player to construct paint-based loadouts. They do this by storing level 3 paint blobs in the slot below the grid. A maximum of 5 blobs can be loaded in at any given time. Now, what for will be explained later, but for now, just know that the color composition will matter. And again, there's a nifty little code here that will actually display the ratios of paint based on their amounts. Now, this isn't anything crazy for the average programmer, but for me personally, the guy who's, really also bad at math, this was like almost a miracle to pull off. Like the miracle of generosity. That's right, some generous folk already know this, but if you enjoy what I do here, supporting me on Patreon can help me keep doing it. You can get both exclusive and early access to content, while also helping us reach the goal of finally upgrading my poor 10-year-old PC. But back to the game. Should the player ever be dissatisfied with their current layout or need to change it, this is where that mysterious third clickable space comes into play. Clicking it will clear the player's current loadout, allowing them to start over. So to recap, the player obtains paint blobs via other means, which are stored in their bag. When the merge grid is active, the bag is emptied into the grid, and the player can merge blobs at will. The overall goal of the merge system is to build a loadout of particular colors in particular amounts for a reason or reasons yet to be revealed. And as I alluded to at the start, writing the code for this one was so much easier than before. Like, the new methods made this process so much smoother to write. I mean, it's even easier to read, because the system works with both literal color names or through a custom number ID system. It's just so much more elegant than the previous attempts, and it's kind of frustrating to know just how much time was wasted on the old system. But that's part of life, right? You live and you learn. And speaking of learning, we'll learn what this was all building to real soon, but until then, what do you think that the loadouts will be used for? Share your guesses or really any thoughts that you have on today's video in the comments. And while you're there, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, and why not subscribe if you're new to the channel. But with that said, brings us to the end of today's Dev Diary, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.